The following is a Joel Michalec production. On November 13th, Felix Unger was asked to remove himself from his place of residence. That request came from his wife. She asked him to leave because he wouldn't listen to the Joel Michalec Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen. Thanks for joining us. I am Joel Michalec, and I am sitting across in the same room with the lovely Sharen.
That's so weird you said it like that.
Why is that weird? Because you're lovely, and I said it like that, and who cares?
I guess.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, welcome.
I think
Yay.
it's 116, if my count's correct. And we've made it to the month of December.
I don't know how.
Right?
But the way this year is going.
And I'm ready to kiss this year goodbye. But anyway,
right?
Let's get some business out of the way.
2021 better be better.
Better be better.
Better be better.
That's the motto for 2021. Better
Right?
be better.
Right?
Wow.
Hey, I just made up a motto.
Okay, you can reach us at www.jmtalk.net on the web. Subscribe to the podcast, get the news and everything else going on, and you should stop there and subscribe to the podcast. Also, catch us on social media, TikTok and Facebook. Is that the way I say it? TikTok and Facebook? Or
Yeah.
Facebook and TikTok and... Yeah, it rolls better, right? TikTok and Facebook at
It's
JM
actually
Talk.
TikTok and Instagram.
No, Instagram and Twitter at JM Talk Radio.
Okay, but TikTok and Instagram are together.
It doesn't matter if they're together. I have to do it by our handle.
Okay.
Because we have 2 handles, 4 platforms.
Gotcha.
All right?
Gotcha.
Stick with me for the latest.
All right.
Also, you can email the show, joelmahalecradio@gmail.com. So that's how you get a hold of us. So, yeah, we've really been gone for a couple weeks, getting a lot of stuff done. We've been so very busy, and you guys have been listening to some greatest hits episodes the last couple weeks. So, and this will be a weird month too. We should be 116 is now.
Yes.
Excuse me. We should have 117 next week, and then we're going to be off on break.
Yes.
Which is sort of in conjunction with all of our syndicate partners, because they go into their Christmas mode. And so you're going to want to stay tuned to Facebook and Twitter and the website and whatnot for details on the Christmas show and where it will air. As with every other year, because this is a podcast and there is actual music on the Christmas show, you have to remember you can only listen to the Christmas show on a network partner. You cannot come back to the webpage and get it as a podcast because of copyrights. So we'll keep you apprised of the airing dates and the stations and the links that you can listen to the Christmas show on. And if you're a program director looking for a Christmas show, then email me and we will get it to you forthwith.
Wow.
You like that?
That's
Forthwith.
awesome.
So that's the business of the show.
Forthwith.
And we have been gone.
It sounds like you have a lisp.
Well, maybe I do have a lip. So, yeah. So, anyway, yeah, that's that. So, we made it into December, and I don't know what 2021 will bring. At this point, I'm afraid that at midnight when the virtual ball drops, that's right, because there's no ball drop, it's virtual.
I know, right?
When the virtual ball drops, that like the skies are going to open up, we're going to hear round 2 or something like that. Coming from, bellowing from the skies.
You scared me.
No, I didn't. So
this is how it goes, people. I tell him how I feel, and he tells me how I feel.
You tell me how you feel, and I look at you and I go, no, yes.
And if you don't know where that comes from, it's one of our favorite British comedy shows. We're really big into British comedy shows.
Yeah, the Vicar of Dibley.
Yes, the Vicar of Dibley. One of the characters, that's how he talks.
And it's funny that I don't know where I was going with that just a second
Wow.
ago. Wow, yeah, right?
Did you just have a brain fart?
I had a something or other, yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
So, yeah.
So let's get into something real quick. The COVID-19 crisis, pandemic, and the vaccine and stuff. So, as with everything else these days in the news, there's almost too many sources, and many of those sources can be wrong. A lot of those sources can't be trusted. That's all I'll say about that. But there's so much information about it, the vaccines coming out. This is what we think we know from what I have gathered from what I would say are fairly reliable sources and multiple sources. I never go to one source and go, oh, that's the way it is.
Yeah,
because that's how conspiracy theorists work. So vaccines are being produced and they are being mobilized around the country. Okay? In lieu of a December 10th and a December 17th emergency meeting or hearing to get FDA emergency approval to start using the vaccine, which in tests have shown to be 90 to 94% effective, which when you think of the flu vaccine is 50 to 60%, but it's a weird test, and I actually do have an article, which I think I'm going to share this week, from a virologist in Sweden, I think, or somewhere over in that area, who gives a good layman's terms explanation of why they can say it's 94% effective, but he remains optimistic, even though he explains it. And when he explains it very simply, you may have the same thought that most people do, which is, well, why should I trust it?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not talking about why there is a segment of the population all over, say, Facebook and Twitter, telling you not to take it, and they're not going to take it, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I think some of those people are saying that maybe, one, because it's a conspiracy theory. Number two, if you think about chickenpox, the vaccine, how's this go? I think the first case of chickenpox, or the first case of them starting to treat it, was like 1876 or something like that.
Okay.
When the vaccine was created, it took them 25 years to create the vaccine for chickenpox. The last known medical case of chickenpox in the United States was 1977. That's almost 100 years before they got it under control. Okay?
How do you know this?
Because I just read this morning.
Wow.
So, yes, I would, when I read that, I do get a little concerned about, will the vaccine be effective? You know, did they rush it? I mean, it's only been, 8 months?
Right.
You know, so sure, we have questions. And there's a lot of thoughts about it. But what we know is they're mobilizing it because of these meetings, the hearings, 10th and the 17th. Here's my problem with that, and I don't want to get too political, but they're about to go on winter recess, Congress.
Right.
Why are we waiting until the 10th and the 17th? If this is such a critical issue, right?
Yeah.
Why are we not clearing the decks and getting these hearings done now before you, not that you work anyway or do anything for us as it is, but you're about to go on winter recess.
Right.
You know, and it's just, to me, it's just another way that Congress reminds us that they don't work for us.
Right.
This should be top priority. But that's just my opinion. So once these, if they get the approval, which they probably will, because the United Kingdom just approved it and they're moving.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, the United Kingdom is moving the vaccines, and they'll be, in fact, people are getting them. If they haven't already, they're getting them this week.
Right.
So it will probably happen here. And of course, it's up to you to decide if you're going to get it or not. I don't know. I can't tell you what to do about that. But so it is being mobilized. It's being moved around, in Delaware is also getting them. Yeah. So,
well, I'm glad Delaware is getting them.
That's what we know right now, as far as that goes.
Right.
And if I had a different type of show like the one I used to have, we'd have a whole different conversation about this pandemic. But anyway, we just want to pass on some news that maybe you could use. This is what we know. This is what we've gathered from what we consider to be half-decent reliable sources, and multiple sources as well. The opinion part is, I don't think they should be waiting. I mean, I got a hold of this information 4 days ago. That was on the 2nd. It's the 6th, and we still don't. We have 4 more days and then 7 more for the meeting, for these hearings. And I just don't think that's fair to again, the struggling American people.
Right. Especially if the cases are on the rise.
Right. And now, what's funny is, like, so I listen to the local news talk in the mornings here in Delaware. And as far as I can tell, they're somewhat fair, and they try to stay very balanced. And every time they mention the news story, and and all throughout the day, they update you on the COVID numbers. And every single time they do it, they end it with a footnote saying that the rise in cases could attribute to the rise in testing. They always make sure they say that.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't want to fearmonger you and say, oh, the cases are on the rise, period. They're saying the cases are on the rise, but this may also be because testing is at an all-time high.
Right.
So we're testing more people, we're going to have more positive cases. So that's just the way it is.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's just them trying to make sure that they stay, fair and balanced.
Yeah.
You know, because if you look at news and I sit in my chair during a week and get upset, and you're like, what's the matter? Oh, this story from such and such and such and such. It's fear mongering. You know, I want all the facts. And some of these news agencies recycle news from back in March and April when it was really bad. And they want to rehash these news stories. Why? To keep their proverbial foot on your neck of fear. Okay. We fear this enough as it is. You and I think a lot of people that we in our circle, people I work with, we're all very fearful of this. We don't need additional fear mongering, and fear propaganda is all I'm saying. So take that for what it's worth. Okay, I'm sorry I took up a good bit of time, but I want to get that information out there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's important stuff.
So our security system was feeling ill last week.
Yes.
And in fact, I had a 4-day weekend, and she waited the whole 4-day weekend till the night before I went back to work, to be up every 60 minutes to go outside and go potty because she wasn't feeling well.
Because she had diarrhea.
Right. So this led you on a trek.
Well, no. It didn't lead me.
It didn't lead you on a trek?
No, it did not. The information that I received happened because a friend of mine who is also a dog owner, she has a 5-month-old puppy, and apparently her puppy had diarrhea. So she said I gave it a half of an Imodium. I'm like, what?
Oh, that's what got you started.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, what? You can't give a dog Imodium? What are you, crazy? Which led me to, what really can you give a dog on our human over the counter medications? What do you keep looking at?
I'm looking at that. That's all right. You're fine.
Okay, is that better?
You're fine.
Okay. You just keep looking at the screen and throwing me off.
Well, I also have to look at the timing.
Okay. Okay, so I did a search on what over-the-counter medications can be given to a dog. Okay? Now, keep in mind, all of this medication is based on your dog's weight.
And also keep in mind
how much you give it and when to give it.
Also keep in mind this is not veterinary advice.
Oh, absolutely not.
And you should always check with your veterinarian prior to giving over-the-counter things to your fur babies.
Absolutely. And, I mean,
that should get us off the hook for hate mail about, oh, what are you, a vet?
Right. But even having this list, knowing what we can and can't give Molly, I would first consult our vet. Okay? Is that better?
You're fine. I was actually looking, this time I was looking to see if her scratching at the carpet was registering on the meter.
Okay. So, all right, here's the list of the top. Hold on.
I told you to put that in order.
I did put it in order. The top 14 things.
Well, we're not going to get to 14 with the time left.
I'm just going to quickly go over the list.
Okay.
Okay.
And shoot.
Antihistamines. You can give them to dogs, which you and I both know.
Right.
A baby's Benadryl can be given to a dog, as long as it's the baby dosage. Okay. Tylenol, ibuprofen, aspirin. No. Big no-nos. Don't give them to a dog. All right? Dramamine, if a dog gets car sick, give it to a dog. They can have it. Oxygen peroxide, if they get a cut or a burn, absolutely use it because it'll help with the healing.
And you use peroxide a lot on her when she has a cut or she chews something open or...
Pepto-Bismol, if they have an upset tummy, give it to them. Yep.
How do you know if they have an upset tummy?
Because if they start eating grass or throwing up or, whatever.
But our vet said that 9 out of 10 times, if your dog is eating grass, it's because she wants to eat grass.
I understand that. I get that.
And this one eats salad 9 times out of 10 as she goes outside, she's eating grass.
It's also, Pepto-Bismol is also a treatment for diarrhea and vomiting, pretty much. Imodium, which we just discussed, it's dosed at 1 milligram per 20 pounds. So, Kaopetate, which was back in the day, that's all we had to give for upset stomachs. So, that's good. Cough medicines. Now, there's a thing about cough medicines. If your dog is coughing, first and foremost, take it to the vet.
Yeah.
Because it could be a serious problem. It could be a problem with their heart. It could be...
Which we found out the hard way.
Right. Respiratory infections, heartworms, okay? But they can be given to a dog, okay?
Again, all based on you discussing with your vet.
Yes. Pepsid AC and Tagamet. They work on dogs by decreasing the production of gastrointestinal acids. They can make your dog feel better and you. Honestly, they work good. Artificial tears. I would have never thought of this. Artificial tears. If your dog squints or blinks a lot,
right?
Okay, he may have dry eyes.
Well, I thought that was her winking at me, and it was code in case dogs take over the world.
Well, that too.
I wink back to make sure that you and I are safe.
Right, exactly. So, but it could have dry eyes or a bit of dust or dirt in their eyes. And you can put a drop of artificial tears in there to clear out their eyes.
Can I squeeze her paw and make her cry?
Well, no, you don't want to do that. You're silly.
I just kidding, Mom.
Steroid sprays, gels, and creams. They are usually very safe. The upside is they decrease the itchiness and insect bites and hot spots. The downside is steroids can delay healing if a wound is infected. Okay. Topical antibiotic.
What was that?
Yeah, that was what it was. Topical antibiotic ointment. Neosporin is used for cuts and scrapes, and they're pretty safe on dogs.
We've done that to Molly?
Yes, but it's also good not to put it on an area where she can lick it.
Yeah, exactly.
Antifungal sprays, gels, and creams. Most fungal infections are too complicated to be successfully treated with OTC products. However, you may use them until you can get your dog to a vet.
Right, which is always priority one.
Right. Mineral oil. It's a relatively benign liquid, has a variety of uses. You can place a couple drops in the dog's eyes before giving them a bath to avoid irritation from soap.
Ooh, but I don't know if I'd like that. Okay.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, these are just, just some ideas on what you can and cannot use on your dog.
Right.
Right.
And like I said, we have done some, and our fur baby has a very sensitive stomach, so we have to be careful and mindful of that.
Exactly.
But great research, thank you.
Yeah.
So there's some tips for your fur babies.
Yep.
And OTC things. Okay, so we're going to get out of here, take a break, have something to drink, and when we come back, we got more coming up. Also, later on, we have Wombat of the Week coming up. We have Honor Thy Heroes, which is a huge one this week. And if time permits, one last thing, and we'll talk about passwords in the digital world. So that and more coming up after this quick break. Don't go anywhere.
This is New York's Super Oldie Station, 920 WON, The Apple, Brooklyn, New York.
So I use my computer every day. I'm not even sure how I get along without it. But I wasn't prepared for a virus. A Trojan, they called it. One night I'm cruising along, and the next night I can't do anything. I was afraid it was going to cost me a fortune. Boy, was I surprised. They had me back up and running the same day I called them. I really like PC Tech Rescue, and you know what? My wallet likes them too.
Are you troubled by computer problems? PC Tech Rescue should be your very next call. Whether the problem is viruses, hardware, software, or any other issue, they can diagnose your problem and have you back up and running fast. With more than 25 years of industry experience, you can be sure you are getting dependable and affordable service. Call today, 484-429-6061, or email us at pctechrescue@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Joel Michalec Show featuring the lovely Sharen, and joining us this segment, the lovely security system, Molly.
Yay, say hi, Molly.
Say hi in the microphone, Molly. No? No, she's looking at me like, you son of a biscuit.
Because she doesn't curse.
Right? Oh, you cutie pie. Okay, so welcome back, folks. Let's see, some more things to go over. Plus, we're going to do Wombat of the Week with the lovely Sharen here.
Yeah, that's a nice surprise.
Yeah. But first, let's talk about this party we have to talk about, right?
Oh, my goodness. Just the headline alone.
So, basically, the cops broke up a party with 400 guests at a $1 million Long Island castle that was rented on Airbnb. So, apparently, neighbors as well as the homeowner, who was not at the 10-acre property at the time, called the Suffolk County Police to report the massive cars and people heading to the luxury Brookhaven home in the early hours of last Monday morning. Officers arrived at the castle at 12:25 a.m. to break up the illegal gathering, with COVID regulations currently limiting groups to a maximum of 10 people. So it sounds like they violated that by 40 times.
Right.
And this goes back to what we talked about in the first part about all these different schools of thought. You have people people that believe it's a hoax. You have people that are very fearful of it. You have people that are hanging on the fear mongering that the media is doing, and then you have common sense people. And
which you and I are.
And right. And
well, yeah, I mean, we are. We're common sense people.
You told me I don't have any common sense.
Well, you don't.
What do you always say about me?
That you have no common sense.
No, you do. Usually you say, you're the smartest man I know, but you have no common sense.
And that's true of most brilliant men. They have their mind is all consumed on what they are brilliant at, that they do not have common sense. It's not a derogatory remark. It's just, it is what it is.
Now that you've put her down, she wants to talk.
Yes, no. Molly would like to say a thing or two about that.
Right. So anyway, no matter how you look at it, there's a mandate. And, so what gets me, though, is it says that it was rented out on Airbnb. So either...
Yeah, but even if it was rented out on Airbnb, it does not mean that the owner who owns the castle knew what was going to happen.
Obviously, that was going to be my point. Either they knew, or I thought rentals and things were like not even happening.
What?
Do you want to go? Do you want to go in the outer room? There you go. Go find out what it is. Go ahead. Go get it. She's gonna sit right by the door. Don't let her scratch at that door.
Okay.
Right. New carpets. So they broke up this party. 400 people. The pictures of the house on the story are amazing.
I know.
It must be nice to have all that money. But I wonder what that. Look at that. Look at that bathroom.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Who has that kind of money?
apparently the guy who rented the Airbnb has that kind of money.
Right. $1 million castle on a 10-acre estate. So, according to Stuart Cameron, Suffolk County Chief of Police, he said that he told the newspaper that there's no question that this kind of event is a public health issue. Now, that's true because, one of the things that they're saying about the COVID is it's not about you. You know what I mean? Because people take this all as a personal hit. It's not about you. You could be asymptomatic. You could have it and not even know it. Right. But then you could give it to someone who is more susceptible, whose defenses are not as good as yours, and you could harm somebody very badly.
Yeah.
By carrying it.
Right.
And it goes back to, if you think about it, when the kids lived with us, I always said. And now I was thinking about this yesterday, that my bickering is coming around full circle, because we would get the cold or we'd get sick, whatever, and I'd say, even though our grandchildren weren't sick, I was like, they're bringing it home from school. They have to be.
Yeah.
They're carrying it home from school.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so put it in that perspective. Maybe you're okay, but you may carry it to someone who's not okay.
Exactly.
And so, yes, I would say 400 people gathering is a public health crisis.
Oh, definitely.
Although
that's a given. It's 30 people is a crisis.
Although I do have issues with, like, for example, the Delaware mandate is, I've seen firsthand reports from friends of mine on Facebook about the crowds at the malls and the stores and all this the last week two, because of Black Friday and all the sales.
Right.
So I'm seeing firsthand stuff. And what really amazes me is when, our governor, Carney, makes his announcements here in Delaware about, because we're in like week 41 of our emergency shutdown.
Right.
He doesn't say anything about don't go shopping, malls must close.
Right.
Online only. He doesn't mandate anything like that. But he just mandated now, don't hang out with your family from December 14th to January 11th. And if you do, wear masks inside your house with family.
Right.
I can see where people kind of go, scratch their head and go, what? I do have some issues with that, and I made no bones about it, actually, on a public news Facebook thing about, yes, same as Thanksgiving. Oh, God, don't be with your family, but go out and shop and spend money and help our economy. And,
right.
It's
exactly. And that's amazing to me that he hasn't even, or it could be that the business owners, i.e. mall owners, and then the individual business owners in the mall could be in Carney's pocket. Should I say that? I don't know.
Are you making this a political show?
I am not making it a political show. I'm just saying those with the bigger pockets get more action.
However, whatever view you take on the pandemic, and it's not for us to tell you what view.
No.
400 people are getting together in one place is absurd.
Absolutely.
Because you have to look at the statistics and to find out how many people are asymptomatic, and they're just carrying it around.
Right. Right. And you can't tell me every single one of those 400 people had masks on.
You know what? Here's a real-world example, folks. Sharen and I, and I forget what year we went on that cruise down in Miami. That wasn't our 20th, right? No, that was out of South Carolina.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, or several years ago, or many moons ago, we took a cruise out of Miami, and it was in March, early March. We drove to Miami. We left where we live, went to Dover, Delaware to pick up our friends, and then we went from Dover, Delaware to Miami.
Right.
It was minus 9 degrees, not wind chill. It was minus 9 degrees when we left Delaware. And so we were bundled up. And as we drove further south, it was warming up, and we'd shed layers and continue on. And by the time we got to Miami, it was a sweltering, humid, like 87 degrees at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And so we get in the hotel, wake up the next morning, everything's fine. We shower, we have breakfast, whatever. We head to the port to get on the ship. Port. Everything's fine, we embark, we leave, confetti, see you later, bye-bye. Dinner at 6.
Yep.
You know, we made an early night out of it because we were so exhausted from driving and everything. And we both woke up the next day with the flu.
I know. No, actually, no. You woke up the next day with the flu.
Oh, you were the day after,
and
right?
I was the day after.
Now, the point of this story is, in -9 degree weather, it's apparent that we had it.
But didn't know it.
And it wasn't going to do anything in this cold weather. It may have just left our bodies.
Yeah.
After X amount of days or whatever. But we went from -9. We made a 90-degree adjustment in 24 hours.
Right.
And we probably gave it what it needed to incubate and infect us.
Yep.
And then so we spent most of the cruise either in bed or heavily medicated on OTC drugs so we can get out and about and enjoy ourselves.
Right.
So
now,
I just thought of that. That's a real life story of what I'm trying to talk about with this pandemic.
And like the first day, you didn't get off the ship at
the first port
of call, and then the next port of call, I didn't get off the ship.
Right.
So so it really hampered our cruise.
Yeah. So you got off in Cozumel.
Right.
And I remember because you bought me a bunch of stuff over the counter, and I was like,
yeah,
are you sure this is the right stuff? Because it's all in Mexican.
Yeah.
And you were like, this is ibuprofen. I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't say ibuprofen.
Right, but it did help you.
Yeah, like
obviously,
I was,
because you were
and then
you got the next.
You got Theraflu packets.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was just like, wow, I was gobbling everything.
Right.
And then we were in Honduras. We went to, I forget the name of the place, something Bay. We were in Honduras, and we had that day out on the beach where we still weren't 100%, but it just felt good to get in the salt water.
Sure.
Healing waters of the Caribbean.
I know. I didn't go in, but you did.
You did? You didn't go in?
No, I don't go in the water.
Why? Sharks in the water.
I don't like sharks in the water.
So anyway, so for me, like you and I are higher risk. I would like to not get it. So that's why we follow the rules. But remember, us wearing a mask, that's some preventive measure. But the other person with us wearing the mask is really good prevention. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you have people out there who just do not believe in wearing a mask. They're
just
the
don't
American.
give a shit.
You're not telling me what to do.
They don't give a poop.
Right. You're not going to tell me what to do.
Right.
I've encountered someone like that online. I posted a meme about wearing masks.
I know someone who thinks it's a hoax.
Well, we've had family members infected, so we know it's not a hoax.
Oh, I know. I know.
And I feel like at this point, everyone's had somebody who's had it. So don't tell me it's... But it is viral like anything else, right? So that's where some people are looking at it. Well, it's viral. We'll get it, oh well. And no, they'll tell you, like the flu. Maybe we get over it, maybe we don't. That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of flu deaths in 2020. It must be because they attributed all the flu deaths. Because usually, like, what is it, like 65,000 or more people die every year to the flu? How come nobody died last year of the flu?
Statistic.
No one died last year of the flu. Why? Because COVID was eating them up. No, yes.
Yes. No.
So stop partying in big droves, especially when the law asks you not to. So we're better than this. We are better than this. All right, let's do the Wombat of the Week before we run out of time. You can get involved in Wombat of the Week, and this is how you do it. What we do each week is we take news stories of stupid people doing stupid things, and we crown them the Wombats of the Week.
Correct.
And all you need to do is send us a real link to a real news story of stupid people doing stupid things.
Yep.
And you can send it to us at joelmahalicradio@gmail.com. You can also send it to us as a PM on Facebook at JM Talk. And your story goes on the list of Wombat of the Week. So get your stories in. Plenty of them out there. This week we're talking about a man who stabbed his younger brother to death because his brother used up his mobile data quota. Cannot make this stuff up. You're laughing.
Poor brother. Don't get me wrong. Such an idiotic reason to stab and kill your brother.
Right. Listen,
An idiotic reason.
There's got to be better reasons.
Your younger brother haunts you the rest of your life.
So a man in India was arrested, if I can just stay on the page, after he killed his younger brother for allegedly finishing his mobile internet data. The accused, identified as 23-year-old Raman, noticed that his younger brother Roy had exhausted his mobile internet data and took him to the roof of his home. Well, that's a bad sign already.
Wow,
hey,
right?
Roy, come up here. I want to show you something on the roof. No, you don't. So, when did this happen? Oh, this happened back in November. Last week in November. So he took his younger brother to the roof of the house, scolded him for consuming his internet data. The two got into a heated argument. Then the accused stabbed his brother multiple times and fled the scene. The age of the victim is not known, but the older brother is 23. How incredibly sad.
Wow.
So in a fit of rage, he stabbed him 4 to 5 times in his chest and fled. At the time of this story, the victim was nowhere to be found. And, the victim, was nowhere to be found. And when they started searching for him, they found him on a roof in a pool of blood. I have to say, if you're going to stab your brother and kill him, have a better reason than...
You used up my data.
Right.
How dare you?
Aren't we in the day and age of unlimited data?
Yeah, but not... Look, we're in the United States. Yes, we do have such things as unlimited data. However, in India, they may not. You know, they have more people per square inch than we do.
Per capita, yeah.
I know, I was going to say per capita, but I wanted to be stupid about it.
Oh, stop.
It was a stupid story. Not a stupid story. No, it wasn't a stupid story. It was a stupid reason.
Absolutely.
To kill your brother. Have a better reason. He ate your turkey wing.
What?
That's a better reason.
Are you regressing your childhood? Did you stab one of your brothers with a fork because he ate your chicken wing?
I meant turkey wing.
Turkey wing?
Yeah.
Turkey wing, turkey wing, chicken and macaroni. No? Okay.
If I could sing, I would be singing it loud and clear.
For all to hear?
For all to hear.
All right. So Ramen, excuse me, all this talking's got my voice all... Like, I can't even get an hour with this voice anymore.
I know. What's going on?
Old age, I guess. I see. So, anyway, Ramen, for stabbing your brother over mobile data, that makes you a pretty big wombat and an idiot and a jackass.
Yes,
and so
it does.
Wear your crown well, bonehead. So remember, folks, joelmahalicradio@gmail.com. Get your stories in for the Wombat of the Week. Before we go to break, a reminder, if you're just tuning into the podcast, and it's funny, you're just tuning into the podcast, you can go back and start at the beginning. But anyway.
I'm right.
But anyway, next week, with the way things are going, we're hoping to drop an episode next week, and that will be, we'll go dark for a couple weeks until after the holidays.
Right.
But you'll want to stay tuned to the Facebook page and Twitter outlets, Instagram, wherever, for information as we get it. Our network partners are all formulating their days and times of our annual Christmas show, and you'll have to listen to it on a network partner station. You cannot listen to it as a podcast, and that is because of the copyrighted music in it. So keep an eye out for that. This is the part of the show where we, and this may not happen for much longer, by the way, we say goodbye to Sharon. So what do you say? Say goodbye, Sharon.
Goodbye, Sharon.
All right. So she's taking her leave of absence from the program. I'll be back with the third part. We have Honor Thy Heroes. We have one last thing, if time permits, and more on the other side of this. Be right back.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Listen on the web, your phone, or your neighbor's internet connection.
That wasn't very nice.
This is Reality One.
Welcome back, folks, to the third stretch of the podcast, the Joel and Michalec Show, featuring the lovely Sharen. The lovely Sharen has taken leave of this individual podcast, and we push on. So in this segment, we're hoping to cover a couple things, including Honor Thy Heroes, which is a huge Honor Thy Heroes this week. Huge. Plus, if time permits, one last thing where I want to talk about passwords in the digital world. And so all that coming up later on. Remember, I don't want to forget to say this one last time later on. I might, so I'm going to say it now. Stay tuned to our social networks and our website to hear when the Christmas show will be airing. And I cannot stress enough, you have to listen to it on a partner station because of the copyrighted material. It will not be available as a podcast. So there's that, just in case I do not get to it later on before we get out of here. So I want to talk first about a story that has since evolved in a positive way, but let's get the story out of the way first, just so you can understand what's going on. A Texas waitress was tipped $2,000, but the restaurant refused to give her any of the money. Yes, she received a $2,000 tip on a bill. And she was a server for about 2 weeks, and then she was scheduled for a busy Sunday shift, and this happened at Red Hook Seafood and Bar in San Antonio. While working on the table, she kept apologizing to a man seated in her section for the service being slow. He kept telling her it was okay. I've owned restaurants. I understand how it is to be a server, and she thanked him for his understanding. So he gave her a $2,000 tip and wrote a note on his check saying, "Merry Christmas, keep working hard." And she was startled. She started crying. This was like a really wow moment. And she was imagining what it would be like to spoil her two sons. Now, of course, some of this story I'm sure is embellished, you know. But the part about it is, she tells her excitement to her boss, and she was told by the restaurant that they can't process a tip larger than $500. And somebody suggested that the restaurant gave her 4 tips for $500 apiece, but the restaurant said no. And it's unclear why the restaurant couldn't process $500 of the $2,000 to give to Bauer. But she said that her manager told her that the customer called up the restaurant after leaving the tip. He said they left a generous tip and wanted to see if it was received. But she told him that they couldn't process it. So after all this went down, the restaurant, of course, obviously, this is how it goes, right? The restaurant could not be reached for comment. So first they say that they can't process the 500, and then or the 2,000 because it was above the limit, and then they wouldn't process the 500. Couldn't give her an answer as to why. Then the customer calls the check on it, and he doesn't understand why. So, restaurant didn't reply. But here's the thing. Here's the fascinating thing when I said this story comes full way around, right? You know, social media a lot of times pisses me off. Like, I'll read stuff on social media and it just drives me crazy. You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean. I know you feel what I'm saying. How the social media just eggs at you when you read certain things. But social media can be good in some ways. And what happened was, this went viral on social media. This went viral on social media. And as I understand it, the restaurant has given her money because this went viral. Because the last thing a successful business wants is bad publicity. And social media will do that to you. It will do that to you. I remember years ago, I had somebody come to us and say, you know, he got ripped off on an auction site, and it was a very well-respected auctioneer, and he was mad, and he wanted us, if we would cover it. Now, we didn't cover it on the show. I said, you know what, though? I have a blog. I will discuss it on a blog. I just didn't think it was fitting for the show, but I said, I'll do a blog on it. So I did the editorial on the blog. And within 3 days of that blog being posted, he called me up and he said that the auctioneer is settling and he wants that down or he's going to sue you and I for slander or whatever. I mean, we were only telling the truth, right, about what he did to this guy. But he was ready to pull his lawyer resources to have that down. Now, of course, we took the blog down. I can take that post down. But as I said to I emailed the auctioneer, I said, I can take it down, but the power of the internet, it could be up somewhere. People could have already since taken it and run with it, and I can't do anything about that. I can only cut off the source, which is what I did. But it achieved, and this is long ago. Look where we've come now with social media. But it did its job, which was made that person understand that he wasn't going to get away with what he did. And that was the intended purpose of it. So it worked out. And that's the power of the internet doing that. The internet's a scary, powerful thing, man. But that's what's happened here, as I understand it. And like I said, the restaurant has made good on the tip. And it's amazing to me that the restaurant owners or management, whoever, would do something like that. I mean, as we know, servers make garbage as it is. And Sharen has gotten me retrained to rethink my tip strategy. I mean, we haven't been out to eat since before this pandemic, but I used to be really cheap tipper, but she's got me trained a little bit. Okay, she's got me trained a lot of bit. I understand now that they work for garbage. They get paid garbage, and so a lot of their compensation is dependent on what you and I give to them. So keep that in mind, will you? So, yeah. Power of social media and the internet. Okay, folks, let's do the Honor Thy Hero segment because it's a biggie. Honor Thy Heroes is a segment we do each week. We want to honor everyday people or service people or whoever it may be. People that do extraordinary things for other people. And each week we pick a person or a group or what have you. And we honor them for what they've done. Now, as the year comes to a close, and only because we won't be dropping many more episodes this year, with the kind of year that we had, I wanted to sort of blanket honor all the frontline heroes during this pandemic. I'm talking about police officers, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, dispatchers, nurses, doctors, ER staff, crisis centers that are on the phone all the time. You know, pharmacies dealing with, all these different facilities dealing with every angle of the COVID crisis. And imagine the exposure that they all have to this. And, when I say firefighters or police officers, them just doing their normal duty puts them in contact with potential risk all the time. Because you don't know who has it. And, it's bad enough we've seen a lot of situations this past year, with the political strife in this country that has put a lot of them in harm's way anyway. But, you have ER staff, nurses, doctors, paramedics, EMTs that are right there. I mean, the extreme front line of the pandemic because they're treating the ill. They're treating potential carriers. Even if they're not treating someone with COVID, they could be treating somebody that has COVID. Again, we talked about this earlier. The asymptomatic rule. So you don't know. And yet there they are every day. Every day. And then they come home and there's the additional risk of them exposing loved ones. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I've read the stories, but you really can't imagine what these people have gone through in this past year. Or at least past 3/4 of the year. You know, since it's all started. So, there's just so many angles. I couldn't even sit here and explain every one of the angles that I'm thinking of to you. You know, I can give you the actors, and you can play the scenes in your head. You know, I give you all these actors, the first responders, everybody, A to Z on the front line of this, and you can put it in perspective. Everything from treating the COVID patients to treating people that you don't even know whether they do have COVID or not because it's some other issue, but that, you know, COVID-19 is always in your back of your mind there. You know, is that on the line? Is it there? You know, dispatchers dealing with people on the phone, you know, who are going through it, calling 911 because they need some sort of help. What about crisis centers? Taking phone calls from people just trying to deal with family members having it or dying from it. You know, counselors. There's so many. It's such a big group. And after a year like this, near the end of the year, they deserve to have this big crown. They deserve it every day. And we should thank them every day. If you know somebody who's a doctor or a nurse or an EMT or a paramedic or something, law enforcement officer, firefighter, thank them, man. Thank them because they're out there doing it. They're out there doing it. And they deserve our thanks. And our praises. They don't deserve to be shuttered and talked ugly about. Because if they're not there, who does it for you? So that's why I decided that this week, with the year coming to a close, this awful, awful year coming to a close, that we should thank everybody who was the essential of the essential during this pandemic. And honor them all as our heroes on Honor Thy Heroes. And I thank them for everything they had to go through. And they'll continue to go through. Until we see something different. But you are all our heroes. That does, in fact, leave us with time for one last thing. And remember, to get your heroes in. Just send us news stories of everyday people just doing extraordinary things. You know, they don't have to wear a badge or a cape. They can be your next door neighbor. These are the people we're looking for. So send them in to us. JoelMichalecRadio@gmail.com. All right. Passwords, people. One last thing. Passwords. It's the age-old issue with computer users. And this new report came out this week that just blows my mind away. It's the top 10 most common passwords. I cannot even believe it. Because I feel like in the IT world, I'm in the IT world, we've been talking about this for ages. And I keep strong passwords, and I've been hacked with a strong password. Now my password is very strong. Uber strong. But, so this list came out. It was created by a third-party company who specializes in data breach research. And they looked at a database with 275,699,516 passwords. 275 million passwords. Now, and they came up with the top 10 passwords based on that database of 275.5 million passwords. And here they are. From 10 to 1. Okay, number 10, Senha. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. S-E-N-H-A. And S-E-N-H-A. Senha. It's Portuguese for password. S-E-N-H-A. Portuguese for password. Number 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Number 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Number 6, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 4, password. Number 3, picture 1. Number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the number 1 most common password in this database of over 275 million, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Folks, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 of the 10 most common are not just numbers, but most of them are sequential numbers from 1 to something. That gives hackers a 70% chance based on this database, or maybe not a 70%, let's say 40% chance of capturing your data because of how stupid your password is. Okay, you're supposed to avoid using dictionary words. Okay, also predictable number combinations or strings of adjacent keyboard combinations. In other words, don't use QWERTY, Q-W-E-R-T-Y, as your password. And obviously, and this should go without saying, don't use details like your phone number, date of birth, any part of your name. Now, the suggestion is that you use a mix of upper and lowercase letters and numbers and even special characters if the platform allows. And you should have a different password for each of your accounts. Now, you could also use a password manager like I use LastPass, and that will actually, you can put in your password and it will generate a oblivious password to store and use on the site. So even if there's a keylogger on the site, they're not getting your password. They're getting some mumbo jumbo that wouldn't give them anything that they need. It wouldn't let them in. And that's another option. So, but the key is, in this ever-evolving digital world, we shouldn't be using common passwords. That's the whole issue, right? So, don't do it. If any of you are using these passwords, my God, change them, because I just told you this is the top 10 out of a database this huge. Change your password and make it tough. Okay? So that's one last thing. I want to thank everybody for listening to this week's podcast. Remember, keep an eye out on social media for when the Christmas show will be airing on partner syndicate stations. That's where you have to listen to it at. It is a holiday, so be extra kind to one another. Let's all just be human and be kind to each other, and it will make things so much better. Until next time, folks, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you later on. Bye-bye.